Have you ever wondered what single skill could transform your life, open countless doors, and connect you with millions of people around the globe? Imagine possessing a tool so powerful that it could enhance your career prospects, enable you to travel with confidence, and give you access to a vast world of knowledge and entertainment. What if I told you that this extraordinary skill is within your reach, regardless of where you are or what you do? The ability to speak English fluently isn't just another line on your resume. It's a life-changing superpower that can revolutionize your personal and professional journey in ways you might never have imagined. While many see English as just another subject to study, those who have mastered it understand that it's actually a gateway to unlimited possibilities. Consider this at this very moment. There are job opportunities you can't access, friendships you haven't formed, information you can't understand, and experiences you can't enjoy. All because of language barriers. But what if those barriers could disappear? What if the world could open up to you in ways you never thought possible? Today, we're going to explore how English fluency can transform every aspect of your life, from career advancement to personal growth, and most importantly, how you can achieve this fluency even if you've struggled with language learning in the past. This isn't just about learning a language, it's about changing your life. Let's begin by understanding why English has become such a powerful force in our interconnected world. English has evolved beyond being just another language. It has become the primary medium of global communication, connecting people across continents, cultures, and industries. When we look at the numbers, the story becomes clear. English is the official language in more than 50 countries, including influential nations like the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. But its reach extends far beyond these English-speaking countries. English serves as the common language in international business, diplomacy, science, technology, and entertainment. This means that when people from different linguistic backgrounds need to communicate, whether in a corporate boardroom in Tokyo, a research conference in Berlin, or a tourist destination in Thailand, English typically becomes the bridge that connects them. Think about what this means for you personally. When you gain fluency in English, you're not just learning how to communicate with native English speakers. You're gaining the ability to connect with people from virtually every corner of the globe. Imagine checking into a hotel in Japan, navigating an airport in France, or dining at a restaurant in Brazil. Even if you don't speak the local language, chances are high that you'll find someone who understands English, making your experiences smoother and more enjoyable. The digital world further amplifies the importance of English. Approximately 60% of all content on the internet is in English. Major social media platforms, popular websites, mobile applications, and digital services predominantly use English as their primary language. While translation tools have improved dramatically, they still can't replace the nuanced understanding that comes with true language fluency. When you can navigate the internet in English, you gain access to a vastly larger pool of information, entertainment, and opportunities for connection than would be available in most other languages. From educational resources like online courses and research papers to entertainment options like movies, music, and books, English proficiency unlocks a world of digital content that might otherwise remain inaccessible. Beyond practical communication, English serves as a key that opens doors to career advancement and professional growth. In today's globally connected job market, English proficiency isn't just beneficial, it's often essential. Major international corporations like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and countless others use English as their operational language. Even if you work for a local company, chances are that English skills will set you apart from other candidates and colleagues. Consider how this plays out in real world scenarios. Perhaps your company begins a partnership with an international client, and they need someone who can handle communications smoothly. Maybe your organization hosts foreign visitors, and they need a team member who can give presentations or lead tours in English. Or imagine your employer is expanding globally and looking for employees who can work effectively across cultural and linguistic boundaries. In each of these situations, your English fluency becomes a valuable asset that can lead to new responsibilities, increased visibility within your organization, and ultimately, career advancement. Studies consistently show that employees with strong English skills earn higher salaries. In some countries, the difference can be as much as 30–50% more than their non-English speaking counterparts. The advantages extend beyond the corporate world. If you're an entrepreneur or small business owner, English allows you to reach international markets, connect with potential partners around the world, and access global resources and networks. If you work in fields like tourism, hospitality, or customer service, English enables you to communicate effectively with visitors and clients from diverse backgrounds. For students and academics, English opens doors to prestigious educational opportunities worldwide. Many of the top-ranked universities globally, Harvard, Oxford, MIT, Stanford, conduct their programs in English. Countless scholarships, research positions, and academic conferences require proficiency in English. By mastering the language, you position yourself to pursue educational experiences that might otherwise remain out of reach. Beyond these practical applications, English gives you unprecedented access to knowledge across virtually every field. Whether you're interested in science, technology, business, arts, medicine, or any other discipline, the most comprehensive and up-to-date information is often available in English first. From scientific journals and research papers to industry reports and specialized books, English is the primary language of global knowledge sharing. Imagine having a question about astronomy and being able to read articles from NASA directly, or wanting to learn about business strategy and accessing Harvard Business Review without waiting for translations. Perhaps you're curious about the latest medical breakthroughs and can understand research papers as soon as they're published. This immediate access to information keeps you at the forefront of your field and allows you to continue learning throughout your life. The benefits of English fluency extend far beyond professional and educational contexts. They enrich your personal life in profound ways as well. Think about the connections you can form when language barriers disappear. Social media platforms, online forums, and digital communities bring together people from around the world based on shared interests rather than geographic proximity. When you speak English, you can join conversations about your passions, whether that's cooking, photography, sports, music, or any other interest, with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. These connections not only help you improve your language skills, but also expose you to different perspectives, traditions, and ideas that enrich your worldview. Travel experiences are transformed when you can communicate confidently in English. Rather than being limited to tourist areas or struggling with translation apps, you can venture off the beaten path, have meaningful interactions with locals, and navigate unfamiliar situations with ease. You can ask for recommendations from residents rather than following guidebooks, solve problems that arise during your journey, and form connections that turn simple trips into transformative experiences. Even if you never leave your home country, English gives you access to a world of entertainment and cultural experiences. You can enjoy films, music, literature, and art from around the globe in their original form without waiting for translations or relying on subtitles. The subtle humor, cultural references, and linguistic nuances that often get lost in translation become accessible to you directly. Beyond these tangible benefits, mastering English contributes to personal growth in ways that might surprise you. Learning a new language, especially one as globally significant as English, changes how you think and perceive the world. It develops cognitive skills like problem solving, multitasking, and decision making. Studies show that bilingual individuals often demonstrate greater mental flexibility and creativity than those who speak only one language. When you achieve fluency in English, after putting in the effort and overcoming challenges, you experience a profound sense of accomplishment. This achievement boosts your self-confidence not just in language situations, but in other areas of life as well. The process of mastering a language teaches resilience, patience, and the value of consistent effort, life skills that transfer to any endeavor you pursue. Now that we understand the transformative potential of English fluency, let's address the question that might be on your mind. How do I actually start speaking English, especially if I've struggled with language learning in the past? Many people believe that learning a language requires exceptional intelligence or some special talent. But this simply isn't true. The ability to learn languages is a fundamental human capacity. After all, you've already mastered at least one language in your lifetime. The key difference between successful language learners and those who struggle isn't innate ability. It's approach, consistency, and mindset. Let's begin with the basics, the foundation upon which you'll build your English fluency. When starting to learn English, focus first on the simplest, most practical elements of the language rather than complex grammar rules or specialized vocabulary. Begin with everyday phrases and expressions that you can use immediately in real life situations. Practice simple greetings like hello, good morning, how are you? And responses like I'm fine, thank you, nice to meet you. These basic expressions might seem too simple if you've studied English before, but being able to use them confidently and automatically is the first step toward fluency. Use them every day, whether you're talking to yourself, greeting family members, or practicing with friends who are also learning. At the same time, start familiarizing yourself with the names of common objects and actions that surround you in daily life. Learn words for items in your home: chair, table, window, door, bed. Learn words for everyday actions: walk, eat, sleep, read, write. One effective technique is to label items in your home with their English names using small pieces of paper. Each time you see or use the object, say its name aloud, reinforcing the connection between the word and the item. The secret to language learning isn't found in textbooks or classroom exercises. It's in consistent, daily practice. Speaking English every day, even for just a few minutes, will help you progress far more quickly than studying for hours once a week. Make speaking a non-negotiable part of your daily routine, just like brushing your teeth or eating meals. Start by talking to yourself. Describe what you're doing as you go about your day. When you wake up, say, I am getting out of bed. While preparing breakfast, narrate your actions. I am making coffee. I am toasting bread. When getting dressed, describe your choices. I am wearing a blue shirt today. This practice might feel strange at first, but it trains your brain to form thoughts directly in English rather than translating from your native language. If possible, find a friend or family member to practice with regularly. Agree to speak only English for certain periods, perhaps 15 minutes each day to start, gradually increasing as you both become more comfortable. You can discuss simple topics like your day, the weather, or your plans for the weekend. The key is to create a safe, judgment-free environment where you both feel comfortable making mistakes and learning from them. If you don't have a practice partner, try recording yourself speaking English. Use your phone to record simple sentences or short monologues about familiar topics. Listen to your recordings to identify areas for improvement in pronunciation or grammar. This practice helps you become more comfortable with the sound of your own voice in English and provides valuable feedback on your progress. When you're just starting to speak English, keep your sentences short and simple. Don't worry about using impressive vocabulary or complex grammar structures. Focus instead on clear, basic communication. Begin with simple sentences like, I am happy, I like pizza, or this is my book. These straightforward structures are the building blocks of language. As you grow more confident, gradually expand to slightly more complex sentences. I am happy because it's sunny today. I like pizza, but I don't like hamburgers. Or, this is my book, and that is my pen. This gradual progression builds your confidence while developing your ability to express more nuanced thoughts. Listening is a crucial component of learning to speak English effectively. When you listen to English regularly, you naturally absorb vocabulary, pronunciation, and the rhythm of the language. Make listening a daily habit. Watch videos, listen to podcasts, or enjoy TV shows in English. Start with content designed for language learners, where the speech is slower and clearer. Then gradually challenge yourself with more authentic, native speed content. As you listen, practice the technique of listen and repeat. When you hear a phrase or sentence, pause the audio and say it aloud, mimicking the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm as closely as possible. This practice helps train both your ear and your speaking ability simultaneously. Building vocabulary is essential for fluent communication, but trying to memorize too many words at once can be overwhelming and ineffective. Instead, focus on learning a small number of new words each day, perhaps 5-10 words that are relevant to your daily life or interests. Learn these words in context by using them in sentences rather than memorizing isolated word lists. Group words by categories that make sense in your life: food items, family members, work-related terms, hobby vocabulary. For example, if you enjoy cooking, learn words related to kitchen tools, ingredients, and cooking actions. This thematic approach makes vocabulary more meaningful and easier to remember because the words connect to your personal experiences and interests. One effective way to develop conversational skills is to practice with question and answer exchanges. Start with basic questions. What is your name? Where are you from? How old are you? What do you do? Practice answering these questions about yourself using complete sentences. I am from Mexico. I am 28 years old. I am a teacher. As you progress, expand to more complex questions that require longer responses. What did you do yesterday? What are your plans for the weekend? Can you tell me about your favorite movie? These question and answer practices help you think on your feet and respond naturally in conversations. Integrating English into your daily routine accelerates learning by creating constant exposure to the language. Beyond dedicated practice sessions, look for ways to incorporate English into everyday activities. Set your phone, computer, and social media accounts to English. Write your shopping list in English. Try thinking in English as you go about your day. Form simple thoughts about what you see, feel, or plan to do next. When you're watching TV, turn on English subtitles even if the program is in your native language. This creates another touchpoint with English words and phrases throughout your day. If you enjoy music, listen to English songs and look up the lyrics to understand what they mean. If you like cooking, find simple recipes in English and follow them. These small integrations add up to significant exposure over time. Learning with others provides motivation, accountability, and opportunities for authentic communication. If possible, join a language class or conversation group where you can practice with fellow learners. Many communities offer affordable English classes through community centers, libraries, or religious organizations. These structured environments provide guidance from teachers and the chance to practice with peers who share your goals. If in-person classes aren't available or convenient, look for online communities or language exchange platforms. Websites and apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, or Conversation Exchange connect language learners around the world. You can find partners who want to learn your native language while helping you practice English, creating a mutually beneficial exchange. Remember that learning any language takes time, and progress isn't always linear. Some days you'll feel like you're making great strides. Other days you might struggle with concepts you thought you'd already mastered. This is completely normal and part of the learning process for everyone, regardless of age, background, or natural ability. Set realistic expectations and celebrate small victories along the way. Did you learn 5 new words today? Successfully order coffee in English. Understand a short video without subtitles. These achievements deserve recognition. Each small success builds confidence and motivation for continued learning. Don't let fear of making mistakes hold you back from speaking. Errors are not failures. They're an essential part of the learning process. Every mistake provides valuable feedback that helps you improve. Native speakers understand that learning a language is challenging and are generally supportive of those making the effort to communicate, even imperfectly. Maintain a consistent practice schedule, even on busy days. It's better to practice for 15 minutes daily than for several hours once a week. Consistency builds neural pathways that strengthen memory and recall, making English feel increasingly natural over time. As you continue your English learning journey, remember that fluency is built not through memorization, but through authentic communication and practice. The most effective language learning happens when you're using English for real purposes, expressing your thoughts, connecting with others, solving problems, or pursuing interests. Beyond the basics we've discussed, there are additional techniques that can accelerate your progress toward English fluency. Let's explore some powerful strategies that successful language learners use to fast-track their speaking abilities. Flashcards remain one of the most effective tools for vocabulary acquisition. Create physical cards or use digital flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet to review words regularly. The most effective flashcards include not just the word and its translation, but also an example sentence that shows how the word is used in context. Review your flashcards daily, focusing more time on words you find difficult and less on those you know well. Keeping a journal in English Even if it's just a few sentences each day, strengthens your writing skills while reinforcing vocabulary and grammar patterns. Write about simple topics at first, your day, your feelings, your plans, and gradually tackle more complex subjects as your confidence grows. Don't worry about perfection. The goal is to express your thoughts clearly, not flawlessly. If possible, have a teacher or fluent speaker provide occasional feedback on your writing. Shadowing is a powerful technique used by professional interpreters and polyglots. It involves listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say with minimal delay, matching their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm as closely as possible. Choose a short audio clip from a podcast, video, or language learning resource. Listen once to understand the content, then play it again, repeating what you hear phrase by phrase. This practice trains your ear, mouth, and brain simultaneously, developing the neural pathways needed for fluent speech. Learning common phrases and expressions gives you ready-made language chunks that you can use immediately in conversations. Focus on practical phrases for everyday situations: ordering food, I would like, could I have, asking for directions, excuse me, how do I get to, making small talk. Nice weather today, isn't it? How was your weekend? These phrases serve as conversational building blocks that help you communicate effectively even with limited vocabulary. The watch and repeat technique combines visual and auditory learning for powerful results. Choose a short scene from an English movie, TV show, or YouTube video, ideally something with clear dialogue and everyday language. Watch it multiple times, first for general understanding, then to focus on specific phrases, and finally to practice speaking along with the characters. Pause after each line to repeat it, matching the pronunciation and intonation. This practice helps you adopt natural speech patterns while making learning engaging and enjoyable. Creating a consistent routine accelerates progress by making English practice a non-negotiable part of your daily life. Here's a sample routine that many successful learners follow. Morning. Begin your day with 10-15 minutes of vocabulary review using flashcards or a language learning app. This primes your brain for English and sets a positive tone for the day. Afternoon, read a short article, blog post, or book chapter in English. Highlight unfamiliar words to look up later, but focus primarily on understanding the main ideas rather than every single word. Evening. Watch an episode of an English TV show, a YouTube video, or listen to a podcast. Practice active listening by repeating phrases or summarizing what you heard. Before bed, spend a few minutes speaking English, either practicing with someone else, recording yourself, or simply talking through your day aloud. Reflect on what you learned today and set a small goal for tomorrow. Weekends, dedicate longer blocks of time to more intensive practice, such as conversation groups, writing exercises, or working through language learning resources. Use weekend activities as opportunities to apply English in real-life contexts, perhaps by watching an English movie at the cinema, visiting a tourist area where you might encounter English speakers, or joining an event where English will be used. Consistency trumps intensity when it comes to language learning. 15 minutes of daily practice yields far better results than a 3-hour study session once a week. Small, regular exposures to English build neural connections that strengthen over time, making the language increasingly natural and accessible to you. As you progress in your English learning journey, you'll discover that the benefits extend far beyond practical communication. Fluency in English transforms your travel experiences in profound ways. When you can speak English confidently, your adventures become richer and more meaningful, whether you're visiting English, speaking countries, or places where English serves as a common language for travelers. Imagine arriving in a new city and being able to ask for directions not just to tourist attractions, but to local favorites that guidebooks might miss. Picture yourself having conversations with residents about their daily lives, cultural traditions, and perspectives, exchanges that go much deeper than surface level tourist interactions. Think about the confidence of navigating unexpected situations. A missed connection, a sudden illness, a lost reservation. With the ability to explain your needs clearly and understand the solutions offered. English proficiency removes many of the anxieties associated with travel. Instead of worrying about communication barriers, you can focus on immersing yourself in new experiences. You can venture beyond tourist areas to discover authentic local culture. You can solve problems independently rather than relying on guides or translation apps. And perhaps most importantly, you can form genuine connections with people you meet along the way, turning simple trips into life-enriching journeys. The ability to build relationships across cultural and linguistic boundaries represents one of the most rewarding aspects of English fluency. English often serves as a bridge language that connects people from diverse backgrounds who might otherwise have no way to communicate directly. When you speak English, you open yourself to friendships and professional relationships with people from countries and cultures around the world. These cross-cultural connections offer far more than just language practice. They expose you to different worldviews, values, and perspectives that broaden your thinking and challenge your assumptions. They help you develop cultural intelligence, the ability to understand, relate to, and work effectively with people from different backgrounds. And they create a global network of relationships that enriches your personal and professional life. The process of learning English and achieving fluency brings a significant boost to your self-confidence that extends beyond language situations. Think about it, mastering a new language represents a substantial achievement that requires persistence, dedication, and courage. Each time you overcome a challenge, whether that's holding your first conversation, understanding a movie without subtitles, or expressing a complex idea clearly, you prove to yourself that you can tackle difficult goals successfully. This growing self-assurance transfers to other areas of your life. You become more willing to step outside your comfort zone, try new experiences, and face challenges with the knowledge that you can adapt and succeed. The courage it takes to speak a new language despite the risk of making mistakes builds resilience that serves you well in any endeavor. Moreover, English fluency often changes how others perceive you in professional settings. Being able to communicate confidently in meetings, presentations, or international contexts enhances your professional image and creates opportunities for leadership and advancement. The ability to bridge communication gaps or help facilitate cross-cultural interactions makes you a valuable asset in any organization with global connections. The career benefits of English fluency cannot be overstated in today's interconnected business environment. English dominates international commerce, with an estimated 1.75 billion people using English at a useful level for business purposes worldwide. Major corporations across industries conduct operations, meetings, and communications in English, regardless of where they're headquartered. This reality creates both challenges and opportunities. For those who lack English skills, it can mean limited career progression or exclusion from international opportunities. But for those who develop fluency, it opens doors to positions, projects, and advancement that might otherwise remain inaccessible. Consider specific career scenarios where English makes a crucial difference. In multinational companies, employees who communicate effectively in English often receive opportunities to join international teams, work on global projects, or represent their department in cross-border initiatives. These experiences not only enrich their professional development, but also increase their visibility to senior management and create pathways to promotion. For those seeking new employment, English fluency significantly expands the range of positions available. Many high-growth sectors, technology, finance, international business, tourism, scientific research, require English for daily operations. Job listings for these roles often specify English proficiency as a requirement or preferred qualification, meaning that fluent English speakers have access to a much larger job market than those limited to positions where only their native language is needed. Entrepreneurs and business owners also benefit tremendously from English skills. The ability to communicate with international suppliers, reach global customers, and access worldwide markets can transform a small local business into a much larger enterprise. English allows business owners to research global trends, learn from international experts, and participate in worldwide professional networks that provide valuable knowledge and connections. Beyond practical career advancement, English provides unprecedented access to education and knowledge. English dominates academic publishing, with an estimated 80% of scholarly articles published in English across disciplines. Leading universities worldwide offer programs taught in English, even in countries where English is not the primary language. This means that English speakers can access higher education opportunities globally, from undergraduate degrees to specialized professional training. The Internet, our largest repository of human knowledge, is dominated by English content. While translation tools continue to improve, they still cannot match the comprehension and nuance that comes with direct language understanding. When you read an article, watch a video, or participate in an online forum in its original English, you engage with the content as it was intended, without the potential misunderstandings or limitations that translation might introduce. This direct access to knowledge becomes increasingly valuable in fields where information evolves rapidly. In technology, medicine, business, and many other sectors, groundbreaking research and innovative ideas often appear in English first, sometimes months or years before translations become available. By understanding English, you position yourself at the forefront of your field, able to implement new approaches and insights when they first emerge rather than waiting for them to reach your language. The personal development that comes from learning English extends beyond professional advantages. Mastering a new language develops cognitive abilities that benefit every area of your life. Research shows that bilingual individuals often demonstrate enhanced problem-solving skills, greater mental flexibility, and improved decision-making abilities compared to monolingual peers. Learning a language as structurally different from your native tongue as English might be depending on your first language, creates new neural pathways in your brain. These connections strengthen your cognitive reserve, the brain's resilience and ability to cope with damage or decline. Studies suggest that bilingualism may delay the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's disease by 4 or 5 years on average, making language learning a valuable investment in long-term brain health. Beyond cognitive benefits, English opens access to cultural experiences that enrich your personal life. With English, you can enjoy the original works of Shakespeare, Mark Twain, or contemporary authors without waiting for translations. You can watch films, TV shows, and theater productions as they were created, understanding cultural references and wordplay that often get lost in translation. You can appreciate music lyrics, poetry, and humor in their intended form, experiencing these art forms with greater depth and nuance. The journey to English fluency requires dedication, but with effective strategies and consistent practice, you can make remarkable progress regardless of your starting point. Let's explore proven methods that accelerate your path to fluent, confident English communication. Developing strong listening skills forms the foundation of natural English speaking. When you listen extensively to native speakers, you absorb not just vocabulary and grammar, but also the natural rhythm, intonation, and flow of the language. Make listening a daily habit. Podcasts during your commute, English radio while cooking, videos during breaks. Even having English content playing in the background while you do other activities provides valuable exposure that trains your ear. For focused listening practice, use a technique called intensive listening. Choose a short audio clips 30 seconds to 2 minutes and listen repeatedly. First, listen for general meaning. Then listen again, focusing on specific words and phrases. Finally, try to transcribe exactly what you hear. This deep listening develops your ability to catch details and understand connected speech, where words blend together in natural conversation. Reading broadly in English accelerates vocabulary acquisition and reinforces grammar patterns naturally. The beauty of reading is that you encounter words in context, which helps you understand not just their definitions, but how they're used in real communication. Start with materials slightly below your current level for comfort, then gradually challenge yourself with increasingly complex texts. Diversify your reading materials to expose yourself to different vocabulary and writing styles. News articles provide formal, factual language. Blogs offer conversational, everyday English. Fiction introduces descriptive language and dialogue. Instructional texts present clear, sequential explanations. By reading across genres, you develop a well-rounded understanding of how English functions in different contexts. Speaking practice remains the most crucial element for developing fluency, yet it's often the aspect learners avoid due to fear of making mistakes. Challenge yourself to speak English daily, even if just for a few minutes at first. If you don't have conversation partners readily available, use technology creatively. Record voice messages to language exchange partners, participate in online discussion groups, or use language learning apps with speaking components. When you do find opportunities for conversation, focus on communicating your ideas clearly rather than speaking perfectly. Effective communication involves getting your message across, not constructing flawless sentences. Native speakers regularly make grammatical errors, use filler words, and restart sentences. These are natural parts of authentic speech, not failures of language ability. Writing reinforces your English skills by allowing you to organize thoughts carefully and experiment with new vocabulary and structures. Even simple writing practice, a daily journal entry, social media posts in English, emails to friends who are also learning, develops your ability to express ideas coherently. Writing gives you time to consider word choices and sentence structures in a way that speaking doesn't, allowing for deeper processing of language patterns. For more structured practice, try responding to prompts that match your interests. If you enjoy travel, describe your dream vacation. If you're interested in cooking, write out a favorite recipe with instructions. If you follow sports, write a summary of a recent match. These meaningful writing tasks engage your interest while building valuable language skills. Overcoming the mental barriers to language learning often proves more challenging than mastering the language itself. Many learners develop anxiety about speaking English, fearing judgment for mistakes or struggling to find the right words. This fear creates a cycle where avoidance leads to less practice, which leads to slower improvement, which reinforces the anxiety. Breaking this cycle requires changing how you view mistakes. Rather than seeing errors as embarrassing failures, recognize them as essential steps in the learning process. Every mistake you make and correct helps build neural pathways that strengthen your language abilities. The most successful language learners are often those who make the most mistakes initially because they're actively using the language rather than waiting until they feel ready. Set small, achievable goals that build confidence through regular success experiences. Perhaps your first goal is simply to greet someone in English each day. Then you might aim to have a 2-minute conversation, then 5 minutes, then discuss a specific topic. These incremental challenges create a sense of progress that motivates continued effort. Surrounding yourself with supportive learning partners accelerates progress significantly. Seek out people who encourage your efforts rather than focusing on your errors. This might include fellow English learners who understand the challenges you're facing. Patient native speakers who value communication over perfection, or professional teachers trained to provide constructive feedback. Online communities can be invaluable sources of support and practice. Platforms dedicated to language learning often foster positive, encouraging environments where members understand that everyone is learning and making mistakes. These communities provide regular opportunities for authentic communication without the pressure of face-to-face interaction, which many learners find less intimidating at first. Maintaining motivation over the long term requires connecting your English learning to meaningful personal goals. Why do you want to learn English? Is it for career advancement, to travel more confidently, to access educational opportunities, to connect with specific people or communities? Understanding your deeper motivations helps sustain effort through challenging periods when progress seems slow. Make learning enjoyable by connecting it to topics and activities you genuinely care about. If you love cooking, follow English language recipe channels. If you're passionate about sports, join English forums discussing your favorite teams. If music inspires you, study lyrics and sing along to English songs. When language learning connects to your interests, it transforms from an obligation into an engaging journey of discovery. Track your progress to maintain motivation during plateaus. Language learning isn't linear. There will be periods where you seem to advance rapidly and others where improvement is less noticeable. Keeping a record of your journey, perhaps through regular self-recordings, journal entries, or notes on new vocabulary mastered, provides tangible evidence of your growth over time. Celebrate milestones along the way, no matter how small they might seem. Successfully ordering at a restaurant in English for the first time, understanding a joke without translation, or handling a phone call confidently each represents significant progress. Acknowledging these achievements reinforces your belief in your ability to master the language completely. Remember that language learning is a lifelong journey rather than a destination. Even native speakers continue to learn new vocabulary, expressions, and communication strategies throughout their lives. View your English development as an ongoing process of growth rather than a finite task to complete, and you'll find the journey both more enjoyable and more successful. As you continue developing your English fluency, certain advanced strategies can help you sound increasingly natural and confident. Pay attention to the music of English, the stress patterns, rhythm, and intonation that give the language its distinctive sound. Native speakers often find it easier to understand accented English with correct rhythm than perfectly pronounced words with unnatural stress patterns. Practice sentence stress by identifying and emphasizing the important content words in sentences while lightening the function words. For example, in the sentence, I want to go to the store, the stressed words would be want, go, and store, while I, to, the, would be pronounced more quickly and lightly. This rhythm creates the natural cadence of English speech. Develop awareness of linking sounds between words in natural speech. In fluent English, words often connect smoothly rather than being pronounced as separate units. For instance, turn it on might sound more like neat ton when spoken naturally. Noticing and practicing these connected speech patterns helps your English flow more smoothly and sound more authentic. Expand your understanding of register, the different levels of formality in language use. English, like all languages, varies considerably depending on the context, relationship between speakers, and purpose of communication. Developing sensitivity to when formal language is appropriate versus when casual expressions would sound more natural marks advanced language proficiency. Learn lexical chunks, common phrases and expressions that native speakers use as single units rather than constructing them word by word. Expressions like, as far as I know, to be honest, or it depends on, function as building blocks in fluent speech. By memorizing and using these chunks, you can speak more fluently even when constructing original content around them. Pay attention to cultural aspects of communication beyond just the language itself. Understanding pragmatics, how context affects meaning, can be as important as knowing vocabulary and grammar. For example, recognizing when direct requests sound impolite in English compared to more indirect forms, could you possibly, versus you need to, helps you navigate social situations successfully. Cultivate patience with yourself throughout this journey. Language learning takes time, and everyone progresses at their own pace. Some aspects of English might come easily to you, while others present greater challenges. This variation is normal and doesn't reflect your overall ability to achieve fluency. Consistent effort matters far more than speed of acquisition or natural aptitude. The investment you make in learning English yields returns far beyond the immediate practical benefits we've discussed. In a world that continues to grow more interconnected, the ability to communicate across cultural and linguistic boundaries becomes increasingly valuable. English fluency positions you to participate fully in global conversations, opportunities, and communities. Consider how English might transform your life 5 or 10 years from now. Perhaps it will have enabled career opportunities that changed your professional trajectory. Maybe it will have facilitated friendships and relationships that wouldn't otherwise have been possible. It might have allowed you to live, study, or work in locations you never imagined. The long-term impact of language fluency often exceeds our initial expectations in surprising and wonderful ways. The journey to English fluency transforms not just what you can do, but who you can become. As you develop the ability to express yourself in a new language, you gain a different perspective on communication itself. You become more attuned to how words shape thoughts, how cultural context influences meaning, and how much is communicated beyond the literal definitions of words. This heightened awareness makes you a more effective communicator even in your native language. Many language learners report that the process changes how they see themselves. Successfully mastering English, particularly if you've overcome challenges or setbacks along the way, builds a deeper sense of capability that extends to other areas of life. You develop greater tolerance for uncertainty, increased willingness to step outside your comfort zone, and stronger resilience in the face of difficulties. These qualities serve you well in any endeavor you pursue. Your English journey represents far more than acquiring a set of skills. It's about expanding your identity and possibilities. When you can operate confidently in multiple languages, you gain the freedom to define yourself beyond the boundaries of a single cultural or linguistic context. You become a bridge between communities, able to connect people, ideas, and perspectives that might otherwise remain separate. Let's now address some common questions and challenges that arise on the path to English fluency, along with practical solutions to help you overcome them. I've been studying English for years, but still don't feel confident speaking. What am I doing wrong? This extremely common situation usually stems from an imbalance between passive learning, reading, listening, and active production, speaking, writing. Many traditional education systems emphasize grammar rules and reading comprehension while providing minimal opportunities for actual conversation. The solution isn't necessarily to study more. It's to shift your focus to production-based practice. Set a goal to speak English for at least 15 minutes daily, even if that means talking to yourself, recording monologues, or finding online conversation partners. Creating output is the only way to develop speaking confidence. I understand much more than I can say. Why is there such a gap between my comprehension and expression? This gap is normal and occurs because recognition requires less processing than production. When listening or reading, you can often understand a word or phrase even with partial knowledge. But to use that same language actively, you need to recall it completely, pronounce it correctly, and place it appropriately in a sentence, all in real time. The solution is targeted speaking practice that gradually bridges this gap. Start by coing content you've understood, repeating phrases from podcasts or videos to build the neural pathways between recognition and production. I'm afraid of making mistakes and looking foolish when I speak English. How can I overcome this fear? Fear of judgment represents one of the biggest barriers to language fluency. Remember that most native speakers respect the effort required to learn their language and are far more focused on understanding your message than critiquing your grammar. Start in low-stress environments, perhaps with other learners or supportive friends, before gradually expanding to more challenging situations. Remind yourself that every fluent speaker began as a beginner who made countless errors on their journey to proficiency. Mistakes aren't failures. They're evidence that you're actively learning and growing. When I try to speak English, I translate from my native language in my head, which makes me slow and hesitant. How can I stop this? Translation is a natural early stage in language learning, but it ultimately limits fluency. To develop direct thinking in English, practice forming simple thoughts in English throughout your day without translating. Start with basic observations. I'm hungry. It's cold today. That building is tall. And gradually build to more complex thoughts. regular speaking practice, especially when focused on familiar topics where you already know the vocabulary, helps build the neural pathways for thinking directly in English. There are so many resources for learning English that I feel overwhelmed. How do I know which ones to use? The abundance of learning materials can indeed feel paralyzing. Rather than trying to use everything available, select resources based on 3 criteria. They should match your current level, challenging but not frustrating, align with your personal interests to maintain motivation, and fit realistically into your schedule. Consistency matters more than quantity. Often, a simple combination works well: a structured course or textbook for systematic learning, authentic content, second videos, podcasts, articles that interests you for immersion, and regular conversation practice for production skills. I don't live in an English-speaking country and don't know any native speakers. How can I practice effectively? Geographic location need not limit your English development in our connected world. Create an immersive environment by changing the language settings on your devices, consuming English media daily, and thinking or talking to yourself in English. For conversation practice, numerous language exchange apps and online communities connect learners with partners worldwide. Virtual classes with teachers from English-speaking countries offer structured guidance and feedback. Remember that many highly proficient English speakers develop their skills without ever living in an English-speaking environment. I've reached a plateau where I'm no longer seeing improvement. How do I break through? Plateaus are normal in any learning process, especially language acquisition. To overcome them, introduce novelty and challenge into your routine. If you typically read news articles, try literature. If you usually watch educational videos, try comedies or dramas. Seek feedback from more advanced speakers who can identify specific areas for improvement that you might not recognize yourself. Most importantly, expand your zone of proximal development. By attempting tasks slightly beyond your current comfort level, this productive struggle stimulates new growth. How do I know when I've achieved fluency? What exactly does fluency mean? Fluency exists on a spectrum rather than as an absolute state. Rather than viewing it as a finish line to cross, consider fluency as the ability to communicate effectively in real world situations relevant to your needs and goals. For someone using English professionally, this might mean participating confidently in meetings and writing clear emails. For a traveler, it might mean navigating transportation and accommodations with ease. Define what fluency means specifically for you and celebrate your progress along that personalized continuum. Now, let's explore practical ways to immerse yourself in English daily, even if you don't live in an English-speaking environment. Creating regular touchpoints with the language accelerates your progress significantly. Start your day with English by setting your morning alarm label in English and listening to an English podcast, news brief, or music while getting ready. This early exposure primes your brain for English processing throughout the day. Keep a small English vocabulary card by your bathroom mirror to review while brushing your teeth or shaving. These small daily reviews add up to significant learning over time. Transform commute time into valuable learning opportunities. If you drive, play English audiobooks, podcasts, or language lessons. If you take public transportation, use that time for reading English content on your phone or practicing with language learning apps. Even short commutes provide consistent exposure that strengthens your language skills incrementally. At work or school, look for opportunities to incorporate English into your existing routines. Take notes in English, even for content delivered in your native language. If your work involves research, try searching for information in English first before turning to resources in your native language. Label items in your workspace with English terms. These small integrations build familiarity without requiring additional time commitment. During breaks or lunch, watch short English videos on topics that interest you. TED Talks, YouTube tutorials, or even entertainment clips provide authentic language exposure that refreshes your mind while building your skills. Even 5 minutes of listening practice during a coffee break contributes to your overall immersion. At home, create an English environment during routine activities. Listen to English music or podcasts while cooking or cleaning. Watch TV shows or movies in English with English subtitles if needed. Read English content before bed, whether that's news articles, a novel, or social media in English. These passive exposures complement your active study time and help your brain process English naturally. On weekends, dedicate time to more intensive English activities. Join virtual language meetups where you can practice conversation with other learners. Take an online class focused on specific skills you want to develop. Watch a full English movie without interruptions. The more sustained contact you have with the language during leisure time, the faster you'll progress toward fluency. The digital landscape offers unprecedented opportunities for language immersion regardless of your physical location. Social media platforms can become powerful language learning tools when you follow accounts that post content in English aligned with your interests. Whether that's sports, cooking, technology, art, or any other passion, engaging with this content by reading, listening, and eventually commenting in English provides authentic practice in a low-pressure environment. Podcasts offer exceptional value for language learners, providing extensive listening practice that fits conveniently into your day. Start with podcasts designed specifically for English learners, where the speech is clearer and slightly slower. As your skills improve, transition to authentic podcasts on topics that interest you. The beauty of podcast learning is its flexibility. You can listen while commuting, exercising, doing household chores, or relaxing. Online communities centered around hobbies or professional interests create meaningful contexts for language practice. Whether you're passionate about photography, coding, literature, fitness, or any other pursuit, there are forums, discussion groups, and virtual events conducted in English. Participating in these communities motivates you to improve your language skills while connecting with like-minded people worldwide. Language exchange partnerships provide invaluable opportunities for regular conversation practice with native or fluent English speakers. These mutually beneficial arrangements pair you with someone learning your native language, allowing both partners to practice and provide feedback. Many language exchange platforms offer text, voice, and video chat options, making it easy to maintain consistent practice regardless of schedules or time zones. As your English skills develop, remember that progress isn't always immediately apparent to you. Just as you might not notice physical changes when exercising daily, but suddenly find your clothes fitting differently, language improvement often becomes evident in unexpected moments. Perhaps when you realize you've just watched an entire English program without feeling strained, or when you find yourself thinking in English without conscious effort. Periodically record yourself speaking English on the same topics over time. When you listen to recordings from 3, 6, or 12 months ago, you'll likely be amazed at how much your fluency, pronunciation, and confidence have improved, even if day-to-day progress seemed minimal. These concrete reminders of your growth provide powerful motivation to continue your language journey. Remember that language learning is not a race or competition. Each person's journey unfolds at its own pace, influenced by numerous factors including your native language, prior language learning experience, available time for practice, and individual learning style. The only meaningful comparison is between your current abilities and where you were previously. And by that measure, consistent effort always yields improvement. The path to English fluency transforms not just your linguistic abilities, but often your entire perspective on learning and growth. Many language learners discover that the process teaches valuable life lessons that extend far beyond language acquisition. You learn that consistent small efforts compound into remarkable results over time. You develop resilience through confronting and overcoming challenges. You experience firsthand how stepping outside your comfort zone, though initially uncomfortable, leads to expansion and new possibilities. Perhaps most importantly, you discover your capacity to master complex skills through dedication and strategic effort. This confidence in your learning abilities often transfers to other areas, inspiring you to tackle new challenges with the same persistent, methodical approach that led to your language success. As you continue your English journey, maintain a balanced perspective that acknowledges both your progress and areas for growth. Celebrate the milestones you've achieved while continuing to stretch toward new goals. Remember that even native speakers continue developing their language skills throughout their lives, adding vocabulary, refining communication strategies, and adapting to evolving language usage. Viewing English learning as a lifelong journey rather than a finite task allows you to enjoy the process rather than focusing exclusively on some imagined endpoint of perfect fluency. The investment you make in developing English fluency represents far more than acquiring a practical skill. You're opening doors to new relationships, opportunities, and perspectives that will enrich your life in ways you might not yet imagine. You're developing the ability to connect authentically with people across cultural and linguistic boundaries. You're gaining access to knowledge, entertainment, and experiences that might otherwise remain inaccessible. And perhaps most significantly, you're expanding your sense of what's possible for yourself, proving that with commitment and effective strategies, you can master challenging skills and continue growing throughout your life. Your English journey may begin with practical motivations, career advancement, educational opportunities, or travel experiences, but it often leads to profound personal transformation. The courage required to speak a new language despite imperfection builds confidence that transfers to other areas of life. The mental flexibility developed through adapting to different language patterns enhances cognitive abilities and problem-solving skills. The cultural awareness gained through language learning fosters greater empathy and understanding in all your interactions. Remember that every expert was once a beginner, and every fluent speaker started with simple words and phrases. The distance between where you are now and where you want to be may seem vast, but it will be crossed the same way: one conversation, one practice session, one small improvement at a time. Trust the process, maintain consistency, and celebrate your progress along the way. The global community of English speakers, both native and non-native, represents one of the most diverse linguistic groups in human history. By developing your English fluency, you're not just learning a language, You're joining a worldwide conversation that transcends geographic, cultural, and social boundaries. Your voice and perspective become part of this global dialogue, enriching the collective experience for everyone involved. Your English journey doesn't need to be solitary. Millions of people worldwide are working towards similar goals, facing similar challenges, and experiencing similar triumphs. Connect with this community through language exchange platforms, online forums, local meetups, or social media groups. Share your experiences. Seek advice when you're struggling and offer encouragement to others on the same path. These connections provide not just practice opportunities, but also motivation, accountability, and the reassurance that you're not alone in this endeavor. As you develop your English fluency, consider how you might use this skill to contribute positively to your communities and the broader world. Perhaps you'll help translate important information for people in your local area who don't speak English. Maybe you'll build bridges between English speaking colleagues and those who are still learning. You might eventually teach or mentor others who are beginning their own language journeys, sharing the insights and strategies that helped you succeed. The gift of language becomes even more valuable when used in service to others. The journey to English fluency represents one of the most worthwhile investments you can make in yourself. An investment that pays dividends throughout your lifetime in personal growth, professional opportunities, and meaningful connections. While the path may sometimes feel challenging, the rewards far exceed the effort required. Each step you take builds not just your language skills, but your confidence, resilience, and capacity for growth in all areas of life. Remember that you possess the same innate language, learning abilities that allowed you to master your native tongue. An extraordinary feat you accomplished naturally as a child, while adult language learning follows a somewhat different path. Your brain remains remarkably adaptable and capable of developing new linguistic skills at any age. Trust this natural capacity while supporting it with effective strategies and consistent practice. Your English journey is uniquely yours, with its own timeline, challenges, and moments of breakthrough. Honor this individual path rather than comparing your progress to others or holding yourself to arbitrary standards of perfection. The true measure of success isn't achieving accent-free pronunciation or error-free grammar. It's developing the ability to connect authentically with others, express your thoughts clearly, and navigate confidently in English, speaking contexts relevant to your life. The world opens in remarkable ways to those who speak English confidently. Doors that might otherwise remain closed become accessible. Opportunities that might seem out of reach become possibilities. Connections that might never form become reality. By developing your English fluency, you're not just learning a language, you're expanding the boundaries of your world and the horizon of your potential. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of how English fluency can transform your life and the practical strategies to achieve it. I hope you've found inspiration and actionable insights to support your language learning journey. Remember that consistent effort, even in small daily doses, leads to remarkable progress over time. Trust the process, celebrate your growth, and enjoy the journey of discovery that language learning offers. If you found this podcast helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Your support helps us create more valuable content for English learners worldwide. Leave a comment sharing which strategy you plan to implement first or any questions you might have about your English learning journey. We'd love to hear from you and support your progress toward fluency. Until next time, happy learning!